Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. I'm so glad that you decided to join our audience today, whether you're watching us live on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. or if you're listening to the podcast. We just really appreciate you being part of the audience. Joe Conjal is in the house. He says, hi, Rob and Joe. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
How are you doing? Paul Hollis says, evening, Rob and Joan.
Howdy,
Hello, Paul. We're glad that you're here.
Welcome aboard.
So far, we've had a heck of a week. Our dog has been in the emergency vet 3 times, one time Saturday night, one time early Sunday morning, and then 4 a.m. this morning.
Total of about 9 or 10 hours that we've spent there, and they're
more
not going to
than
pay
that.
us for that. Jeez, I don't believe it.
They said, we like you very much, but please don't come back.
Don't come back. And I said, well, we don't want to see
We
you
don't
again
want to
either.
see you either.
Anyway, so we want to remind everybody about the Voice of Indie podcast. Tonight's guest is none other than George Dismukes, author and producer, director, and former Hollywood scriptwriter, who we know very well here. Oh, hi, George. He's here.
Here, let me read what George has to say.
Okay.
George Dismukes, I'm here for a sec, but I got to go so I can be a big shot on another show. And you know I ain't no sissy, but I'm sending prayers your way from Missy.
Oh, you're a poet, too. I didn't know that.
It takes real men to pray. Let me tell you.
There you
Thanks, George. We appreciate it.
At the end of our show, you will get directions on how to get there. We have a little tutorial there that we run for Voice of Indie podcast on Blog Talk Radio for Theme Weeks and Stephen G's. And let's see, episode rewind this Saturday is Canadian author Tom Stewart. That was a good episode. That's 5:30 this Saturday, right here where you're watching right now, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time in the U.S. Want to remind everybody about Book World, The Great Escape podcast on YouTube. Just go to @CJ Peterson. Those are Wednesdays at 1 o'clock Central Time here in the U.S. Next Wednesday at 7:30, we've got a special guest. We're going to be live, and we'll have writer Howard Kaplan. He's the author of Damascus Cover, and that's a full-length feature movie starring Jonathan Rhys Meyers and Sir John Hurt. So it's from, do you remember what year that was out?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't either. 2016 to 18, somewhere around, I think, but don't quote me on that.
I'm sure he can tell us.
He will tell us, but he's pretty interesting. He's got several novels that he's written. And that would be next Wednesday, which would be the 14th. The next evening is Haunted Campfire Tales.
Mm-hmm.
Our subject will be pet hauntings.
Mm-hmm.
Just go to Tampa Bay Spirits Facebook page as the best place to find out, or go tampabayspirits1.com to find out more information about that.
Now, we are going to do something a little different. We're going to start out every show from now on with a ghost story or two
around the
And
campfire.
then we'll talk about, what you've all voted on to talk about.
Then we'll get to our subject.
Yeah.
Want to mention or remind everybody, we're going on a long trip starting at the end of June. We're going to have a couple live broadcasts from Texas, one in San Leon and one in the Fort Worth area. And during that time period, following that, we're going to head on up to Colorado and South Dakota and Wisconsin and all over the place.
Tennessee.
We're going to stay in the United States. We are not going to go to France or England or Mozambique. But during that time period, we're going to have a few pre-recorded ones, and it's a show that's called From the Vault. So when you see that, you're going to know there's a couple of early shows that we had done. Most of them are double features, and that's for part of July and part of August, but you'll see those. Also, in the news, ready?
Yeah.
In the news. June 15th is a pre-launch party for the Hollow Man audio book on Facebook. And that's a story of espionage and intrigue by Paul Hollis.
And if you've been watching his shorts, he's been really putting out some great shorts. Great, Paul. And pardon me, my Bostonian comes out every once in a while, so it's shorts.
Shots.
I'll get to that in a minute. Oh,
yeah, well, let's finish.
That's funny.
These guys.
Anyway, sorry, some of the comments are making me laugh already. Anyway, I don't remember what I was talking about. What was I talking about?
The shorts of Paul Hollis.
Oh, Paul Hollis's shorts are.
What?
Stop. Oh.
Oh.
They're very good, and he just had featured one with his the person who did his audiobook. And I'm even thinking, and I don't know, tell us what you think about this, that maybe it might be a good idea to have on a voiceover actor on that does audiobooks, and even Gary, who's doing Paul's.
Yeah.
And
we've got one or two in the wings that we'd like
do.
To bring in. Also then, Paradise My Prison, I want to remind everybody, by George Dismukes, as a matter of fact, is now available on Kindle Vella. 8 episodes are up now, so they're quite a ways into the book.
It's getting very good reviews, by the way.
Also wanted to, lots of thumbs up there. Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles, just a reminder about those. We have from April, we have Only the Good Die Young by Cindy Davis. And May's release was Who Killed Lily Payne by K.D. McNiven. And in June, this month, a really cool title, Men Lying Dead in a Field by Richard Schwint. So that's really piques my interest. I don't know why. Maybe, I don't know why. I didn't kill anybody. To be honest, I did not.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he already talked about it on the show, though, remember?
That's true. That's true.
Marjorie Daring says, I am adding my prayers to George's free pooch. I hope she's doing better.
Thank you.
I hope she is too, Marjorie.
She's sleeping
becoming
right now.
Exhausting. And Joe said, that sounds fun. He was talking about the trip. Yep. And then he also said, you should have Jess host a show while you're traveling.
I've thought about it.
Yeah. And do you mean the Meet the Author podcast too? Because, yeah, she's really good on the Haunted Campfire Tales. So. And everyone apparently loves her hair. It's mentioned every podcast that people love her hair. And Paul says, oh, thank you very much for mentioning me. Much appreciated. Yeah, well, just telling the truth. George Dismuke says, Paradise My Prison even scares me. Don't know how I managed to write it. Right?
It's a good story, George. It really is.
Joe Gonjal said yes. You meant to meet the author.
So now that the show's almost over.
No, no, it's not. You're going to
Would you like to introduce Regina?
Yeah, you're going to scare her. Okay, so our guest tonight is Regina Noel Downing, very busy young woman.
Hi, Kirsten.
Hi, Kirsten. And that's her publisher.
There you go.
Fox Point Publishing, Kirsten Hall, who's an author and a publisher. Publishes her books, Regina's books. She writes books. She teaches music. She's got a lot going on.
There she is.
Hi guys, good to see you.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm good. I had a busy afternoon of lessons and morning of kids stuff and all that. Summer is here.
Oh, it's not snowing up there anymore.
No, not anymore. It's
Okay.
hot and humid.
Yeah. Paul Hollis says, welcome, Regina. Yeah. Whereabouts do you live in Iowa?
So I'm in the northeastern tip, so near Minnesota, a couple hours from Minneapolis.
Just north of Davenport?
Davenport's a little further south of me. Yeah. So like I'm in the very corner.
Way up there.
Corner, yeah. So close to Wisconsin and Minnesota. So we get all 4 seasons in all their glory.
We used to live in Cedar Rapids.
Oh, so that's maybe a couple hours from me?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Right. The city of 7 smells.
7 smells, huh?
Oh, yeah. That's what it was always known.
Only 7, though.
They produce cereal and dog food, and they have all these big stacks all around the city, and so you can really smell when
you know what part of town you're in by the smell.
Yep.
Wow. That's
It's not pleasant. Not pleasant. Yeah, it is. Oh, okay. Let me see.
Already got a question coming in here.
Oh. Joe Conjal says, hi, Regina. What instruments do you play? Ever play in any bands or groups?
Oh, well, I play predominantly the piano and the ukulele. Piano is my primary instrument, and then ukulele. And I sing. I'm a singer, probably a singer by nature first and foremost. And then, in my school years, I played the flute. And I did try to pick up the guitar, but 6 strings versus 4 is too much, and I couldn't do with my hand because I'm a pianist first. So someday I'll pick it up again when I have more time. Haha. Bands? No bands. Groups? I did, community choir for a little while, but I kind of just do my own thing. Sometimes. Well, there was a while where I would perform at one of our coffee shops every month, and sometimes I would do the farmer's market. Sometimes I get hired for, funerals. People like me for funerals.
Funerals? I would
not
like that.
Yeah, nobody likes me for weddings. I'm not sure how to take that, but so yeah, I do some of the odd sort of performances just solo. I usually accompany myself on the piano and sing. So not that I wouldn't be interested in being in a group, but right now performing isn't really my priority. I do it by request, but I'm so busy teaching and, writing books and being mom. I don't have much time for that.
Boy, that's the truth. That's busy. Joe Conjal says, I play guitar. I used to play in a band back in my younger days.
Oh, fun.
Yep. Super. You're going to love this tonight, Joe, because she's going to sing from one of her books and play her ukulele.
Yeah.
So
ukulele, not the guitar. You don't want to play the guitar.
No, as I said, the ukulele. Yeah. So that'll be fun.
Right.
It's the first time we've done that on the show. So groundbreaking.
You're a pioneer.
Yes, Regina.
No pressure. You probably shouldn't have told me that.
Oh, we've already heard you sing. You're great.
Yes.
Yeah. Really, really good. So, we've got another comment here. Oh, it's Becca Jones. Oh, it's Lonnie and Becca Jones. Hello. Hi. How are you guys? We'll be up in your neck of the woods and meeting you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And also, if you see me, I'm looking down at my phone a lot. It's because our granddaughter-in-law has been in the hospital in labor since last night.
That sounds funny. Our granddaughter-in-law.
Yeah. Our first great-grandchild may be entering the world at any moment here. So I don't usually pay attention to my phone, but I keep getting updates.
Her name is Amelia, right?
The baby's name will be Amelia, and the mama's name is Hannah.
Yes.
And Hannah's probably pretty tired by
Probably
now.
tired and ready to finish that off.
Yeah. Maybe never have another child.
And what number is this? Her first?
It's her
Yeah.
first.
Okay. Yeah. After a first experience like that, maybe that would be the last.
Lonnie and Becca say congrats to you both. Thank you. And Joe Conjal said thank you. Yeah,
Thanks,
we're
guys.
really excited because our oldest grandchild is almost 30, but our youngest is 8. So it'll be so nice to have a baby.
All right. So let's turn this show back
Marjorie
around to our
says-
guest here.
How exciting. Oh, I thought it was all about us.
Well, it has been so far.
Dun-dun-dun.
So how did you get started writing?
Oh, accidentally. Writing books, being an author was, I don't think, ever on my radar. I have my own music studio. I teach kids and adults of all ages and abilities, starting as young as 3.5 and as old as, in their upper 60s. And I have different abilities and special needs. And so I have to have a lot of tricks up my sleeve to be able to be an effective teacher in all of these different scenarios. And I'm sure parents they got to have a lot of tools up their sleeves just to parent.
Yeah.
Right? And it changes from, sometimes it seems like it changes day to day. And then other times it seems like you kind of get in a groove of the stage that they're in and you can kind of coast for a little bit. And then they're on to the next stage. So writing sort of happened accidentally because of that. So I can remember, my son would tell you a different story, but there was this day and it was pre-COVID. So he must have been about 7 or 8. And I just remember he was having a temper tantrum over something, a meltdown over something. And he was kind of prone to that. He's a very sensitive kiddo, didn't do transitions very well. And so I had like a whole bunch of different ways that I would address that depending on the situation and the environment. You know, sometimes you would just let it run its course. And sometimes you felt like something else was needed. And this was a moment where I felt like something else was needed than to just let him have his tantrum. But nothing that I was doing was working. Like nothing. And I remember he'd like thrown himself on my bed and was just going at it. And I had a moment where I just stopped and I looked at him and I just started singing. Whatever came to my head. And it was, if you're feeling blue, don't know what to do. And I just kept going, whatever came into my head. And I gradually sat down on the bed with him and I started like tickling him and cuddling him. And I just kept singing whatever came to my head. And gosh, he stopped. He stopped flailing around. He calmed down. And within minutes, he was like laughing and having fun with me.
That's awesome. That's
And
really
I was like, yeah, awesome. So the next morning, I caught both kids singing it. And they're like older. They're like 7, 8. And then Simone, my daughter, she must have been like 9, 10, something like that. So they're older kids. And they were singing this around the house. And then, you know, we just kept singing it and time went on. And then I'd catch my daughter rocking one of the dogs, singing to the dog. And so then I started to come up with other things for different transitions that we were experiencing throughout our day to help. Because as a music teacher, I know that music is really helpful in transitions for small children. So I was like, I'm just going to do this in our daily life and see where it can be helpful. So then it was, you know, a bedtime lullaby because we always had our bedtime routine and time together. And so I started including a lullaby. And they are older at this point, but it was still effective. No, they had to be younger. 7 and 9. I think it was 7 and 9. So older, but still highly effective. And then COVID happened, and I never really thought like to do anything with this stuff. It was purely just, parental survival methods. And then when COVID happened and we were all stuck at home, I had to put all of my students on Zoom, which was fine, but not so fine for the really small children. So, because they need hands-on stuff. So I was like, what can I do on a Zoom that's hands-on? And I had an adult student come in and they're like, hey, check out these story songbooks. And I was like, well, duh, that's what I need to do. So, probably the next day, I reached out to a local artist to see if they'd be interested in illustrating these songs for me and maybe turning them into a book. And I didn't know him. Like, I had been following him on Facebook, stalking him on Facebook or whatever. And sent him this long text on Messenger, right? Didn't know the guy. And it's just blah, 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 blah. And would you be interested? And surprisingly, he was. And so I sent him what I had, and he started coming up with some sketches. And I was like, all right, you just keep doing that. And I'm going to start looking for a publisher. And then I had found a friend of mine, sort of an acquaintance that had published a children's book. And this is sort of in the midst of it all, because what I was finding was at the time with COVID happening, there weren't a lot of publishers taking on new people for this or that reason. So I happened to catch that this acquaintance had written a children's book and it was published. And so I was like, hey, do you got any tips for me on how to find a publisher? I've got this idea and here's what it is. And she was like, oh yeah, you should send this to my publisher. And that was Kirsten Hall at Fox Point Publishing. So I sent it to Kirsten. Actually, I think I sent it to her daughter, Chelsea, the co-publisher. Did I say that right? Because they're a team.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was a very quick turnaround. Very quickly, they were like, yeah, let's do this. And so I signed it, it all happened super fast. I think they'd already started the ball rolling before I even assigned the contract officially. And then that was published. I can't remember when now, because with COVID, everything's kind of a blur. And then
I can see you reading that. Hold on for a second. This is from Inherent Dream Production Company. First time checking out this pod, you hooked me with I Want to Believe poster in the back. I have the same one in my studio, but in all honesty, very entertaining. And Regina is awesome. So is Kirsten. Thank you.
Trevor. Hi, Trevor. Trevor, you're awesome. Trevor at Inherent Dream Production Company. He's a big Mr. Rogers fan, just like me. So.
Okay.
Well, if you missed the beginning of the show, you probably missed the fact that we're paranormal investigators. So we have a lot of I want to believe in that kind of stuff.
Yeah, super cool.
We need to get our sponsors in.
Yeah, we need to take a quick break with our sponsors, and then we'll be right back, and we'll show you some of the books.
Yeah, just so they don't pull the plug on us,
They would not.
It's 1919. Back from the war in Europe, Eric Lasko returns to Floodwood Station, Ohio, the small coal mining town he calls home. There, he faces new foes. One poses a threat to his personal long-term relationship. The other is lurking in the adjacent Hocking Hills State Forest, a vicious, incredibly lethal beast driven by bloodlust. An 11-year-old girl and an old man have seen the creature, but no one believes the claims of a young child and a known drunk. When the first body is found, Eric, his father and brother, become suspects in his grisly death. To clear himself and his family, Eric must prove the beast exists. As the gruesome body count rises, the immigrant miners realize what's stalking their town. Every country calls it by a different name, but the creature is the same. Werewolf. Who is it? The residents reach a conclusion, but are they right?
Now on Kindle Vella. Paradise, My Prison. Charlie Flint awakens from a deep sleep and finds himself alone on a tropical beach surrounded by a palm tree jungle and exotic animals. He cannot remember who he is or anything about his life. First, he must find food and build shelter and protect himself from hidden dangers. As his memory gradually returns, it reveals what a very flawed person he is. A man who made too many mistakes, made too many enemies. The implications of the truth are staggering. How did Charlie get there? And will he save himself? Paradise, My Prison is the riveting new suspense thriller from retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. Published by Fresh Ink Group, Paradise, My Prison is on Kindle Vella with 3 free episodes. Paradise, My Prison by George Dismukes.
The clock is ticking. Can Gracie uncover the truth?
Philip Pliant is the wealthy opportunist plastics dealer and CEO of Pliant Industries. He's also a master thief, creating a pervasive threat to the manufacturing infrastructure in the Caribbean islands markets. With the cartel as his stealth client, the naive city leaders have been seduced, enabling the production of more than 3-dimensional building materials.
The expected profits are monstrous.
Is the art group, now led by Gracie and the family heirs, strong enough to win against this predator?
Can JJ's cats act on the root cause analysis in time?
Will Gracie be able to squash Pliant and the cartels?
Gracie never considered their lives would hang in the balance. The clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3.
We're back.
We are.
And Kirsten said Snuggle came out in May 2021, and Bedtime Rhyme came out in November 2021, and Dear Mom and Dad came out in November 2022. So now let me show you. Let's see.
Thank you, Kirsten. Such a whirlwind. I honestly, like with COVID and everything, it just all seems like a big
Blur.
whoosh. Yeah.
So here's the Bedtime Rhyme. That's really cute. You want to tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah. Well, the Bedtime Rhyme is my kids' bedtime routine since they were little. I mean, now that they're a preteen and a teen, it's quite a different variation. But always, since they were babies, we would have a routine of, evening snuggles and, music, books, all of that. Just having that real time for connectedness, because the days are so busy. And it really helps our children to wind down when they have that real intimate connectedness. So the bedtime rhyme is our routine, and it has in it space built in for sharing, not just for parents sharing with their kiddos, but for kiddos to share with them. But they kind of need that to be modeled. Like, you have to give a little bit too, so your kids know that it's safe and okay. And it's all 3 of the books have a section in the beginning for parents and caregivers to help them, to give them some support. Like, why is this particular issue so significant? Why are snuggles important? Why is physical contact for a child important? Why is having a, connected bedtime ritual important? And Dear Mom and Dad, like, why is creating that space for like real time with your kids important? So there's, every book has a section to help support parents and caregivers. And it's just short, so it's not like you feel like you're reading a freaking novel. It's short, like the fine points. And then the stories themselves are designed to be read with the family unit, whatever that unit looks like. And so the bedtime rhyme features different families, blended families. There's not one particular character. So we try to feature different ethnicities and different types of families. And then the focus is on there's a little story, there's space built in for sharing, and then it leads into the lullaby. And the lullaby is designed to leave children and caregivers feeling connected and valued. And then the last thing that is said before you part ways for nighttime, or some people still do close sleeping, which I'm a big fan of. So the last thing that they hear is, I like you just as you are. And I do. So it's just like the best way to send your littles off to bed.
That's
and
the
these,
big one, Ryan. And then your another book. Actually, I think this one came first, wasn't it?
that came first. Snuggle
Get a
came
Little
first.
Snuggle was the first one, and then the newest one. So I have these out of order a little bit, guys. I'm sorry. Was Dear Mom and Dad.
Yeah, Dad is the newest one, and that one is written sort of from the child's perspective to share with parents. It's almost like the children are reading a book to their parents. And mind you, these are all story songbooks, so you can read it, you can sing it, you can uke it, you can piano it, whatever works for you. But we all tend to learn a little better when music is involved. And also children, it's an easy way for children to communicate their needs if they don't feel like they have the words to say the thing that they need to say. They can hum the tune or sing the tune. So often, Dear Mom and Dad is about remembering what it was like to be a kid, because we get so caught up in our world of adulting that we forget what's really, really important to our littles. And in that forgetting, we really miss something. We miss that connection. We miss those really valuable, opportune moments simply because we forget what it was like for ourselves. And so many of our parenting decisions and issues can really be kind of resolved if we can just take a pause and try to remember what it was like for us.
Joe Conjal said, what a wonderful cover. Yeah, they're 3 beautiful covers for sure.
I think one of the most important things is choosing your battles. You know, what is really important here? You know, we've had to.
Says the dad of 6 very strong-willed, opinionated
We've had
people.
to choose a few battles ourselves. So
yeah,
like a good battle is you don't run out in the middle of traffic.
Right, get out of the middle of the road, you dope. Well,
I don't care what you wear to church or school. It doesn't matter to me.
Right. Right.
So, yeah.
Pick your battles.
Yes.
For sure.
Of course, it'll be different for every person.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So all 3 of them are really designed to help foster emotional intelligence, not just for children, but for families. Like, I remember just having times when my well, even now, that I'm just like, I don't know, like, where's the handbook? And wanting to have had more support in those things. And so these are kind of the things that I would have liked to have had when my kids were really little. And even now, they're still valuable. Like, we just lost one of our puppies 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah. And it hit my son really hard.
Yeah.
And I won't say was particularly surprised. I was kind of glad that it hit him the way it did, because he used some really good coping tools. And I was glad to be the observer of that. And I remember one day, because, you know, it's like a wave, you know, sometimes are easier than others. And one day he had another slump down, and I just came over and sat beside him and started singing the snuggle song.
Yeah.
And even now, like, he's 12 now, and that helped.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody needs help when they're grieving.
Yeah. So while you may think that these are sort of silly, just kid-friendly books, they're really sort of generational. I've even heard of people taking them to the nursing home, Snuggle especially, to sing to their older parents.
Oh, that's nice.
That is nice.
So, yeah.
Well, do we want to
Yeah.
go ahead and you got something that you wanted to share, right?
Yeah. You
As
were going
far
to
as,
sing from one of the books?
Yeah. We can do Snuggle or anyone. You guys have a preference?
Your choice.
Author's choice.
Author's choice. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do Snuggle.
Okay.
So I should show you. So the illustrator, Matthew Havron, where is it? There we go. So he's so good. He put my son in the book.
Aww.
Son, and that's me. And yeah, the pictures are just so beautiful.
They are.
Done,
It is beautiful.
The colors, he just really gets the feel. And I should say each book has the sheet music in the back. Each book has it.
Wow.
So it's got chords and sheet music. So you can play it on the piano or the guitar or the ukulele, whatever your preference is.
That's really comprehensive. Really well done.
It's a beautiful book.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, my illustrator is amazing. He just gets the feel like just how I want it. Okay, so I have to take all my bangles off because they get in the way. A little Snuggle because if you're feeling blue and don't know what to do, I've got a thing or two that just might see you through. First, I'll give you a snuggle that'll turn into a tickle, then a wiggle, give a little giggle. If you're muddled, just ask me for a cuddle and I'll give you one, 'cause I love you, honey. Some days are really rough, you just don't feel so tough. There's one thing we can do to chase away those blues. Share a little snuggle that'll turn into a tickle, then a wiggle, give a little giggle. If you're muddled, just ask me for a cuddle and I'll give you one, 'cause I love you, honey. So remember this, my dear, it's okay to have fear. Just grab a friend or two and chase away those blues. Share a little snuggle that'll turn into a tickle, then a wiggle, give a little giggle. If you're muddled, just ask me for a cuddle and I'll give you one, 'cause I love you, honey.
Yay!
Wow,
that
really
was
good.
wonderful.
Excellent.
Oh my gosh, that
Good
was
job.
amazing. I love that. You should sell a record along with that book.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, if for those who are not musically inclined, they are on YouTube. All three are on a playlist on the studio YouTube page.
Okay.
Now, Joe Conchal says, that was awesome. From now on, all guests need to sing instead of doing a reading. Okay, Joe, you're first.
You're first, Joe.
And Kirsten Hall author said, or if you're not talented like me, you can simply read the book.
We have options. Options are good.
George Dismuke says, got a split. Great song, Regina. Bye,
George.
George.
Thanks for hanging in there. We'll try to tune into it tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that was really awesome.
That was.
That was really great. Really enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, they're just simple songs. They're like really, they're all written in the key of C, so anybody can learn them and sing them very easily. They're conversational, and they're not for like being awesome. They're for connecting, assisting people with connections. And that's sort of my jam. I had a traumatic childhood, and I realized that the way that I teach and the way that I parent is sort of partly how I'm healing my own traumas, and that's sort of my outreach is helping teach other parents and caregivers how to do better, right? Because we all have our stuff from our childhood, but you don't have to let it run the show. Like, how can we do better and not just help our own children in their growing, but really help our own healing?
Yeah, and the more tools you have in your wheelhouse, the better, right?
Agreed, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to take our second break, our last break here. And then when we come back, we're going to, until the end of the show, of course. But when we come back, we'll tell everybody how to reach you and talk some more.
We'll be right back.
Don't go away, folks.
Don't go away.
First, there was Siren Song, then Siren Song 2. Now comes The Siren Hunter, a continuing saga about Angie Holland and her never-ending battle with the mythological denizens that are not even supposed to exist. Is The Siren Hunter a conclusion to the undersea horror? Only the sirens know for sure.
The Siren Hunter. Now available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Or contact this podcast. The trilogy is complete.
People who like to read want to get their hands on books by Becca Jones.
Becca Jones, the breakthrough author who tells it like it is. It takes courage to tell a story when it reveals dark secrets. Becca Jones delves deep into the hidden world of sexual abuse. She tells what happened and also tells how she survived.
Meant to Be is much more than just entertaining. Meant to Be gives you a point of reference, hope to cling to, and becomes a guide for survival if you have suffered the same thing. Meant to Be, Becca Jones, a must-have.
Meant to Be is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites.
Madison Jackson loved being a cop. A young girl is raped and murdered near Burnett Reservoir. Madison vows to get justice for the child. Madison travels to the heart of Mexican cartel country. She is kidnapped, tortured. Will Madison ever make it home? Justice by Kelly Marshall, only at Amazon.com.
And we're back. All right, let's get some of this info out here so you can all reach Regina. Her website is Linktree Author RND, and it's spelt like this: linktr.ee/author AUTHORRND. Okay, and then here's another website. This happens to be the Foxpoint one. It's foxpoint.publishing.com/author-Regina-Noel-Downing.
And that's Foxpoint with an E on the point.
FOXPOINTE.
Pointy. Fox Pointy Publishing. And she can also be found at indiebooksource.com with the same setup, books by Regina Noel Downing.
You can find her on Facebook under Regina Noel Downing Author, and Noel is Noel. I don't think I spelled that yet. And Instagram is Author Regina Noel Downing, all together. And then you can find her on YouTube at Regina Noel Music Studio, which is what Regina was talking about a little bit earlier.
Right.
that you can hear all of the music there. And her email is author.reginanoeldowning@gmail.com. All right.
Let's go ahead with the book giveaway. You want to give away
Absolutely.
a book here, don't you?
Yeah.
This is a beautiful book. Very
Oh my
nicely
gosh,
done. And
really?
would look really good on your coffee table if you don't have any kids even. So your book giveaway this time
Beautifully done.
is the first person to email author.reginanoeldowning@gmail.com will win a signed paperback copy of Choice. That's U.S. only, folks.
There's the 3 books
US
right
only.
there Regina's showing you. It's Give a Little Snuggle, Bedtime. What is the title? I'm sorry.
Sorry, I can't find
Bedtime Rhymes.
Bedtime Rhymes.
I got it.
There you
Bedtime
go.
Rhymes. Had a little, senior citizen moment. And then Dear Mom and Dad. So
yeah, all 3 are very beautifully done. Nice job by Fox Point, I must say.
yes.
Right?
It was.
As well as you and your illustrator.
I'll just leave your email up there for a while so people.
Yeah, and if you email me, I will sign it and also send you a matching ukulele pick.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, each book has their own pick.
Oh, that's sweet.
Not a whole ukulele, but just the pick, right? Okay. All right.
Joe says, Regina, do you think you would ever branch out from children's books? Maybe write a young adult mystery?
Good question, Joe.
That's a good question. Yeah. I think it's a good idea.
Not at this time, because I think my focus right now is really on the family unit and connectedness, because my upbringing was just so traumatic that it led to a lot of problems as an adult. And I think that's kind of my outreach right now. So I do think about writing other books, but more in the realm of informative type books for parents and caregivers, and educators, things in that realm, than YA mystery. It's just not on my radar right now because I'm so in the middle of all of the other stuff. I've done a lot of healing for myself, and now that I've gone so far, I'm like, oh, the next thing is I need to help others, and yeah, it's just such a big passion of mine. I don't feel that I can stray from that at this time.
Maybe later.
Maybe someday. Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, because this has been very helpful, don't you think? These 3 books. I mean, for other people as well as yourself to be able to figure out that first time how to help your son, by giving him a little snuggle and singing to him and all that kind of thing, Yeah,
I think in the era of social media and phones and internet everything, it's easy to lose some of those basic connectedness moments, and so we kind of have to go out of our way to make them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's the same thing with anything in life. You have to do it all mindfully.
Agreed.
Not just, while you're watching TV or scrolling through your emails or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Kirsten has a suggestion for your future mystery book.
The Phantom Ukulele. Do you hear this music?
Oh, I could see this going a lot of different ways, Kirsten.
Then you could be on our other podcast.
On the paranormal podcast.
The Haunted Campfire.
Huh? Let me see, Kirsten.
That's really funny, Kirsten. Joe Gondel said, "Oh, go with it."
He's on board.
It's an awesome title. It is. It really is.
Well, you could either be paranormal or you're just plain crazy. You got options.
I certainly hope it's paranormal because I hear things.
I don't know. We might fall into either category. I don't know. Depends on who you talk to, I suppose. So I also wanted to mention to the audience that even if you're watching this or listening to this weeks later, months later, drop Regina email and tell her what you think about her music and her books, and I'm sure she'd love to hear from you.
Okay, so your friend Trevor at Inherent Dream Production Company said, "We want the movie right. We'll be in touch."
There you go.
Okay, Trevor. I'll let you know.
Oh, Kirsten said a collaboration between all three of you, paranormal and music.
There you go.
Yeah.
Spooky music.
I really do hear paranormal music sometimes, unfortunately.
You can play some.
Play some paranormal music?
Yeah.
Why do you want to do that?
It would make a nice smooth transition.
Oh.
There you go.
That's not scary. That's just...
Oh, I should say that my birthday's on Halloween.
Is it?
I'm a Halloween baby. Yeah, I'm a Halloween baby.
That's awesome.
That'd be a good launch date for the book.
Yeah.
I just love how you guys are all coming up with this for me.
We got your life all planned out for you.
Yeah,
all you got to do is do all the work. No problem.
Yeah, in your spare time, by the way.
Right.
So
but you do have some books in that have really pretty much already written themselves that you will eventually be publishing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just right now I'm focusing on the studio and my kids because they're in junior high. Gosh, it's just gone so fast up to now.
Yeah.
Third
it goes faster.
It does.
The third book was really about making space for your kiddos and being present. Because it does go fast. And so I'm so swamped with the studio and being mom and the book events that I do have. I just need to keep things as possible right now.
Well, speaking of the music studio, can you tell us a little bit about the music studio?
Sure. Well, that's where I'm at right now. You're actually sitting on my piano.
Oh, sorry.
I started teaching. Well, I started teaching when I was working on my master's degree way back in, I don't know, 2003 or 2001, something like that. I can't really remember. But I would travel to people's homes and teach. And then I got my master's degree in education. And then I moved to California for a couple of weeks and didn't like that. And then came back and my boyfriend asked me to marry him. And so we got married, and then there was a baby. And so I wasn't teaching. And then when she was maybe like 6 months old, somebody asked me if I would be willing to start teaching again. And I was like, sure, but I'm bringing the baby. I have to come to you and I'm bringing the baby. And they were like, okay. So that's what I did. And so my daughter is going to be 14 this month. So she was just 1, I think, when I started teaching again. So I'd take her with me. And then I was pregnant with number 2, and we'd travel and teach. And then I'd be nursing and teaching, and I'd have one running around. And eventually we got things sorted out so I could teach from home. And then it just kept growing. I guess I didn't know what to expect at the time. I was just, you're a new mama in survival mode, and I was just making a little extra money on the side, and now I have about 30 students. And I have students on Zoom, so students from all over. I have students in Saudi Arabia, and I've had students in California and Florida and Minnesota and just all over.
That's great.
So they're mostly piano?
Piano, voice, and ukulele. So I have my teacher training certification from the New York Vocal Coaching Company in New York City with Justin Stoney, and that's pretty dang cool. So I can teach like any style of singing really, and that's a lot of fun. So I do it all, and I have all ages, like I said, as young as 3.5 and as old as in their upper 60s, and it's just become, it's not a job, it's just like a way of life for me. I really love it. I just really dug in, and in my teaching, it's not like a normal, I wouldn't say anything about how I teach is normal. I'm very focused on the fundamentals, but equally, if not more so, focused on each student's emotional state at any given time, because I know that when it comes to learning anything, you can't learn if you've got other stuff going on.
No, you can't make decisions or think or anything.
Right.
Kirsten Hall says, ask Regina about her TV inspirations, TV in regard to Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I kind of fantasize about maybe being the next Mr. Rogers. Yeah, because I'm really in tune with, a person's emotional state. I can just, you walk in the door and I know I know what's up. I know there's something up, and pretty much we're not moving on with a lesson until we've dealt with whatever. And honestly, I find that gives me the best results overall with a student, because when I take that space, then they're primed and willing to learn and listen and cooperate, and it's an exciting journey for them versus AP double hockey sticks,
Right.
Joe Conji wants to know, do you have a red sweater?
I do, but it's not a zip up. I need, I actually do kind of have a uniform. I mean, for a while I tried like dressing up for lessons, and I've gotten so busy that I don't really have time to do that. So I've sort of created my own little uniform, which is like sneakers, jeggings for jeans, or like jean shorts maybe, and then a t-shirt with a like a zip up, like a hoodie, and it's pretty much the same hoodie all of the time, and then I switch it up with my glass earrings. So I kind of have a uniform, and I was like, the other day it dawned on me, I was like, well, this is very Mr. Rogers of me.
So Marjorie has a question. Marjorie Deering, how much collaboration went on between you and your illustrator? Or did you leave the images up to the artist, Regina? I ask because I have a children's story I'm thinking of publishing, if I can figure out the process.
Well, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. I was very fortunate because I'd been following my illustrator for a while. I've been talking to him for a while to get a feel for his art. And when I reached out to him, right away he was interested, and he has young children of his own, and he kind of has a similar heart, I think, a passion for families and children, and he's a musician as well. He plays the ukulele better than I do. And so when he read my stuff, I mean, I had some guidelines. I was like, well, please make sure that each of my child is featured. The first one, I think only my daughter was featured. So then when the second one came along, I was like, you're going to have to slip her in there somewhere. We don't want any hurt feelings. And then the other guideline was, I want these to be all inclusive. So there's not one character. I wanted them to be all inclusive so different families could see themselves within the book. and feel like we were speaking to them, because the pictures are as much a part of the speaking as the words in the song. And so those are kind of my guidelines. And from there, he was just amazing. Like, because he's a musician too, he was able to use the colors in a way that gave the words feeling. Like, I mean, look at that cover.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You know? And if he did something that I wasn't like 100% on board with, all I had to do was say, like, I think this cover was more red initially. And I said, red is kind of reads rage to me. I was like, we need to pink it up or something. So then he redid, and this is what he came up with. And I like this quite a bit. And so like, look at that. Like, the colors are just so fantastic. Beautiful. And the colors themselves, like the way he did it, just portray emotion in themselves. You know, so I just got lucky. I think a lot of it is if you're lucky enough to find like an artist illustrator like this one, here's your rage page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not having a good day.
So like, I think if you find an artist / illustrator that you can really connect with, that can sort of be on the same wavelength, I think that can help a lot. So it's just kind of getting your feelers out there. And then I know our publisher, we have illustrators in house, and they're, from what I've seen, they're all very good. So yeah, it's just like getting your feelers out there and finding people that are a good match. And I think there's a different process for everybody. I think some authors might have more for guidelines than maybe I did. But I think in my case, it was just my artist. We were just kind of on the same wavelength. And I wasn't afraid to say if I didn't like something or something needed to be tweaked. And he was really great about that. He didn't take it as like negative criticism or everything. He would just consider it and be like, oh, okay, well, let's tweak this.
Well, that's good.
George, yeah, he was Matthew Havern.
Go ahead.
Matthew Havern.
Everyone should know that Voice of Indy is kicking into gear, and he'll be on in 15 minutes.
I better get off then, huh?
No. Marjorie says, thanks, Regina.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Oh, Kirsten's giving her.
Okay.
Something to do too.
At Marjorie.
Yeah, that's for Marjorie. That's somebody to contact.
Sorry.
SCWI organization.org.
Is that the author's address? I mean, the illustrator's address? No?
Maybe Kirsten, you can tell us more about what that is.
Yes. That's from Marjorie.
Yeah, it is from Marjorie.
Okay. So.
Anyway.
Children's writer. That's for children's writers and illustrators.
Okay.
If you're both on the same Facebook page, then you can see that in the feed. But if you're on different Facebooks, then she can't see it.
But they should be on the same one, though.
Okay.
I think. Who knows? I don't know. I can't figure out Facebook anymore. It's an enigma.
Yeah.
It seems like they've made some changes lately there.
Made it more difficult
to
do what we do.
A lot more difficult. Sure. That's for real.
Marjorie says she appreciates that info.
Good.
Well, this has been awesome.
It has. The there's another one. The Global Community for Children's Book Creators, SCBWI.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You can find illustrators on that site. Perfect. She wants you to know.
Okay.
That's good. But those are beautiful children's books.
Wonderful. Yeah, I really like them.
And believe me, with 6 kids and 14 grandchildren, we have had a lot of children's books in this house.
Those are keepers.
Yeah, they are. They're beautiful.
Yep. So. Yep. I keep a lot of my favorite children's books too for my great grandkids, and these will be nice for my own kids, just so that they, when they're grown and have their own kids,
Yep.
They can be like, yeah, look what Grandma did.
Yep. 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 Like we're still waiting for that great grandchild.
Next time we're on, we'll be great grandparents next time we're alive. But
God willing.
God willing, because that'd be a heck of a long labor.
Poor Hannah.
Yeah.
Lord.
Well, Regina, I want to thank you for joining us tonight and sharing with us.
It's really been great.
Letting us into your studio and your world.
And I love that book and the song.
Yeah, and your whole concept and what you're doing with it,
Thank you, guys.
So good. I mean, I loved it. I loved that song so much. I really did.
Right.
And the way you sing it. Beautiful.
Let me know when that baby comes and I'll send you one.
Okay.
Ooh,
it should be tonight.
Should be tonight.
Great show tonight as always. Thank you, Regina. And of course, Robin Joan. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
Paul Hollis says, thank you, Regina. And as always, Robin Joan. Great show. Thanks.
It's actually, there's only one guy and he's got two different accounts. No, I'm just kidding.
That's not true.
One of my students today was like, should I get on and ask like bizarre questions? I was like, no,
thank you. Don't need any help, right?
Believe me, our audience has
there you go.
Many good questions.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So we're going to move you over to the side. And
Kirsten says, good seeing. Okay, you're
good seeing
hiding
all of
it.
you.
Thank you. Good
it's
seeing
on the screen.
All
Thanks.
of you. Thanks for having Regina on the podcast.
It was definitely our pleasure.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Kristen. Listen to you, hear you, read your.
Want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Want to make sure you join us next week, next Wednesday, same time, same place. In our live broadcast will be thriller writer Howard Kaplan, the author of the Damascus cover and motion picture as well. And let's see. I think that's about all I've got. Do you have anything else you would like to share with the audience?
You already told me at the beginning of the show I talk too much, so.
Oops. I forgot about that.
Well, it was implied in what you said.
We talk too much. I think that's what that was supposed to be.
The signs of healthy marriage, you guys. It's all
there
good.
You go. There you go. She's on our side. Okay.
Oh,
all right. So until next time.
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks.
Good night.
Stick around, Regina.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen Gees welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie, and you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
Mystery hovers in the Magnolia Bluff Public Library. It has nothing to do with the hundreds of suspense novels on its shelves. Caroline McCluskey is the librarian. She finds a crimson hat and a black and white poodle puppy. They belong to Esther Williams. Esther is missing. The police can't find her. Neither can the FBI. Esther's only hope is a ring of 3 women investigators who form the Round Table. The Round Table has already solved one mystery in town, but this time, a woman's life is at stake. The Doggone Diamond Dilemma is now available on Amazon.
Thank Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DV.com.